All right, so today we're diving deep into the world of monks' self-mastery and how those ancient ideas apply to your life today.
Very cool.
Yeah, we're going to be unpacking this fascinating conversation between Jay Shetty, a former monk who now shares these ideas with millions around the world,
Right.
and Gauranga, a monk with a pretty surprising background, actually.
Yeah.
One of the things that I found so interesting is you learn that a monk's path,
Right.
it's not limited to people you know from a specific background or a certain way of life.
Right.
It's about this internal shift, not your external circumstances.
It's fascinating how Gauranga Das embodies that shift.
Yeah.
He's highly educated, comes from a normal background, which I think might surprise people who picture monks
Yeah.
as, these secluded figures.
Yeah, it makes his decision to become a monk all the more intriguing.
Right.
And there's a moment in the conversation where he talks about these specific incidents,
Yeah.
like a classmate's suicide attempt, that really shook him. He was achieving things externally,
Yeah.
but feeling this deep lack of meaning.
It's that classic search,
Yeah. Right.
that longing for purpose beyond just the achievements.
Yeah.
And then at 22, he's in a serious car accident.
Oh, wow.
It's like almost like a turning point in a movie.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And this is where his story takes such a powerful turn. He describes it as a second chance, this moment that solidified his commitment to actually serving others.
Right.
So how does someone go from, a near-death experience to embracing a life dedicated to inner peace and purpose?
Right.
Like, what does it even mean to think like a monk in today's world?
You don't have to live in a monastery to think like a monk.
Okay.
It's about cultivating a particular mindset.
Okay, I'm all ears.
Right.
What does that thinking like a monk mindset actually look like in practice?
So he points to 4 key principles from the Bhagavad Gita. Tolerating these urges we all have to consume, to control, to convince, and to compete. He argues these urges are at the root of so much of our anxiety and suffering.
That's deep.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. Our whole world is built around those urges, right?
Absolutely.
Buy more, be the best, control everything.
Precisely. And Gauranga Das suggests true freedom comes from actually controlling those urges.
Okay.
Not constantly giving in.
Right.
He uses this great analogy of a kite.
Okay.
The string might seem restrictive, but it's what actually lets the kite soar.
That kite analogy is really interesting.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, they misinterpret freedom as the absence of any constraints. Do you think maybe some limitations can actually enable us to reach greater heights?
He argues that that's exactly what happens.
Okay.
We mistake giving into every desire as freedom when it often leads to consequences we don't foresee.
Right.
He even tells a story about the cobra effect.
Oh, yeah. That's a good way. Remind us about that.
It really shows how trying to control things can totally backfire.
So in India, during British rule, Delhi had a cobra problem.
Okay.
And the government thought, let's offer a reward for every dead cobra.
Right.
Figured it incentivized people to kill them.
Reduce the population?
Right, reduce the population.
Seems logical.
Yeah, seems logical at first.
At first glance.
But here's the catch. People started breeding cobras just to get the reward.
Oh, no.
And when the government scrapped the program, those breeders released their snakes, making the problem worse.
It's a perfect example of how a short-term solution focused on immediate gratification can have unintended, even harmful long-term consequences.
Exactly. It highlights the need to think beyond our immediate desires.
Right.
To see the bigger picture, the potential pitfalls of just chasing quick fixes.
Yeah. So this self-mastery that Gauranga Das is talking about, it's not just about willpower, is it?
No.
It's about freeing yourself to love more deeply.
How does he connect those ideas?
He makes a clear distinction between love and lust.
Okay.
True love for him is about service, about compassion, not just self-gratification.
And he actually learned this through meditation.
Right.
Which he sees as a way to purify ourselves, to transform lust into love.
That's powerful.
That's a powerful idea.
Yeah.
It suggests that genuine love requires inner work. A willingness to move beyond our ego.
Absolutely. And then he gets into what motivates our actions.
Okay.
He breaks it down into fear, desire, duty, and love.
Right.
This is where the realistic part of your deep dive really shines through.
Yeah.
He's not suggesting some unattainable ideal.
Right.
He's giving you a framework for understanding what drives you.
And he says that actions motivated by love are the most fulfilling.
Yes.
He uses this beautiful example of a mother caring for her crying child in the middle of the night. No transaction, no keeping score, just pure selfless service.
He's talking about a state of flow where you're so engrossed in an act of service that your ego fades away and you're fully present.
Right.
He calls it trance, but it's something we can all experience.
Right.
Think about a time you were completely absorbed in helping someone.
Yeah.
Maybe a friend in need or volunteering for a cause you believe in. That's a taste of what he's talking about.
That makes it a lot more relatable.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got self-control and love as key parts of this thinking like a monk approach.
Yay.
Now the conversation takes a really fun turn when Jay asks Garanga Das about his first impressions of him.
Yeah.
So this is where you kind of get a glimpse behind the curtain.
This is where we see that even someone like Jay Shetty,
Right.
who now embodies these principles so beautifully,
Yeah.
started somewhere.
Yeah.
Garanga Das's honesty is so refreshing.
Yeah.
He initially saw Jay as this typical young guy, maybe a bit lost, seeking answers.
Seeking answers, yeah.
But something else struck him.
Okay, what was it? What stood out to Garanga Das about Jay even back then?
Jay's sincerity.
Okay.
His eagerness to learn. He even noticed Jay's beautiful handwriting.
Really?
It's a reminder that genuine mentors can see the best in us.
Yeah.
Even when we're still figuring things out.
It's endearing, right?
Yeah.
It reinforces that we all have this potential for growth and transformation, even if we don't start out looking spiritual or whatever.
Right.
But there's more to the story.
Right. Remember how Garanga Das initially saw Jay as maybe a bit fragile?
Yes.
Well, he also noticed something else, a steel-like determination beneath that emotional exterior.
Interesting. So he saw both the softness and the strength, kind of that kite analogy.
Exactly.
Of flexible but still anchored to something deeper.
He saw Jay's willingness to stand up for what he believed in, even when others disagreed.
Yeah.
And his dedication to helping others, even when it was tough.
It paints a fuller picture of Jay, right?
Yes.
He's capable of deep feeling and resolute action.
Yes, he has both.
It's inspiring.
Yeah, it is. It reminds us that personal growth is a process, not a destination. You know?
Yeah.
We all have strengths and weaknesses, and it's that combination, along with our commitment to evolving that allows us to make a real impact.
Yeah, it's a message of hope.
Yes.
We can all evolve, even if we don't start out as this, perfect picture of self-mastery.
And that message of hope really resonates with Garanga Das's overall philosophy.
Okay.
He considers hope our greatest asset.
Really?
Think about it. Even if we lose everything else, if we still have hope, we have the power to rebuild and create something new.
It's the fuel that keeps us going,
Exactly.
even when things are tough.
Yeah.
How does he connect hope with those core principles we've been talking about?
Yeah.
Self-control, service, and love.
He believes that by cultivating those qualities within ourselves, we create a foundation for hope, both for ourselves and for others.
So it's about recognizing that even amidst challenges, there's always potential for growth and positive change. That's where the call to action piece of this deep dive really comes in, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
It's not just about understanding these ideas.
Right.
It's about applying them.
He's not just offering a philosophy. He's giving us a blueprint for living a more meaningful and fulfilling life. And action is key.
Right.
Remember, he talked about how actions motivated by love lead to a state of trance.
Yeah.
That feeling of being completely absorbed in the act of giving.
He gave that beautiful example of a mother caring for her crying child in the middle of the night.
Yes.
No expectation of reward, just pure instinctive love driving her actions.
It's a beautiful illustration of how love can go beyond self-interest and lead to a profound sense of connection and purpose. Now, going back to that trance idea, it sounds almost mystical, doesn't it?
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
Yeah.
How do we experience that trance in everyday life?
It's about finding that sweet spot where our actions align with our values. And we're fully immersed in giving without any expectation of personal gain. Think about a time you were so engrossed in helping someone or working on a project you cared about that you lost track of time.
Yeah.
You were just in it, completely present. That's a taste of what he's talking about.
So it's not about escaping reality or going into some kind of altered state.
No.
It's about tapping into a deeper level of awareness and engagement
Exactly.
with the world around us. It makes a lot of sense.
He also emphasized the importance of understanding love as a form of service, not just a feeling or an emotion.
Right.
It's about choosing to act in ways that benefit others, even when it's not easy or convenient.
It's about moving from me to we.
Yes.
Putting the needs of others before our own desires.
Exactly. And he points to meditation as a powerful tool for purifying ourselves
Right.
and transforming that self-centeredness into genuine love and compassion.
It's fascinating how he connects meditation with service. It's not just about sitting in silence.
Right.
It's about using that inner stillness to cultivate qualities that allow us to better serve others.
He shared a story about his early days as a monk working in the kitchen with Jay Shetty.
Yeah.
He noticed how Jay, even though he was new to that way of life,
Right.
was so eager to learn and serve even when faced with challenging tasks.
That's amazing.
It's about showing up with that same spirit in our own lives, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's about bringing that dedication and perseverance to our own unique paths, even when things get tough.
Garanga Das also talked about the importance of not keeping score in relationships.
Right.
It's not about tallying up who's done more for whom.
Right.
It's about giving freely from a place of love and compassion. Think of it like this: a soldier fighting to protect their country and a monk dedicating their life to spreading hope.
Right.
Both are acts of selfless service driven by a desire to make a positive difference.
It's about recognizing that we're all interconnected and that our actions have ripple effects beyond ourselves. It's about choosing to be a force for good in the world
Absolutely.
in whatever way feels authentic to us.
He highlighted how often people seek out spiritual guidance because they're looking for hope.
Right.
They want to believe there's something more to life than just the everyday struggle.
And that's where the principles of thinking like a monk can make a real difference.
Absolutely.
They offer a path to cultivating that inner strength and resilience to keep going, even when things are tough.
By practicing self-control, engaging in selfless service, and nurturing genuine love, we create a foundation for hope, not just for ourselves, but for the world around us.
It's about recognizing that even amidst chaos and uncertainty, there's always potential for growth, transformation, and positive change.
And it's about taking action even in small ways to move in that direction.
Right.
It could be volunteering our time, lending a hand to a friend in need,
Yeah.
or simply choosing to approach each day with a more loving and compassionate attitude. Every act of kindness makes a difference.
It's about realizing that each of us has the power to be an agent of hope, making the world a little bit brighter, one kind act at a time.
Beautiful.
So before we move on, I want to pause here and give you a moment to reflect.
Hooray.
Think about this. What's one concrete action you can take today to bring a little bit of this monk mindset into your own life?
Yeah.
How can you cultivate a deeper sense of hope, both for yourself and for those around you?
Yeah, it's so easy to get caught up in, the ideas and forget about the doing.
Right.
But Garanga Das is all about putting these principles into action.
He's definitely a walk the walk kind of guy.
Yeah.
Remember, he even mentioned that the word for monk, sannyasi,
Yeah.
means one who is dedicating himself to completely uproot, go down, and approve all the negativities and negative desires from within.
Wow.
It's about actively working on ourselves and extending that effort to serve others.
He's not sugarcoating it either.
No.
He's upfront about how this takes real effort.
Yeah.
He compares it to a gym for the mind.
Saying meditation is the gym where you actually perform various kinds of exercises to keep the mind fit.
Yeah.
Like, we prioritize physical fitness,
Right.
but what about mental fitness?
And just like getting in shape physically.
Right.
Mental fitness requires discipline and
Yeah.
consistency.
Yeah.
He even talks about how modern society often neglects this inner work,
Right.
which leads to all kinds of problems: anxiety, depression, unhealthy coping mechanisms.
He points to things like high suicide rates, mental health disorders,
Right.
and addiction as evidence of this imbalance.
Yeah.
It's a wake-up call. True well-being
Yeah.
involves more than just external achievements.
Oh, how much more?
So where do we even begin?
Yeah.
How do we cultivate that monk mindset in our busy, often chaotic lives?
He gives some practical guidance here.
Right.
He talks about understanding our urges to consume, to control, to convince, and to compete, and learning to manage them instead of letting them control us.
That's a tall order in today's world.
It is.
I mean, we're constantly bombarded with messages telling us to buy more, achieve more, be more.
He gets that, but he reminds us that true freedom comes not from indulging every desire,
Right.
but from developing the self-awareness and discipline to choose wisely.
Mm-hmm.
It's about recognizing those urges and making conscious choices about how we respond to them.
Like that kite analogy, right?
Exactly.
The string that seems restrictive
Yes.
is actually what allows the kite to soar.
Yeah,
It's counterintuitive,
it is.
but those limitations can be what help us reach our full potential.
Absolutely. And he even talked about how trying to control everything around us can backfire.
Right.
Like in that Cobra effect story.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that true mastery comes from managing our inner world,
Okay.
not trying to manipulate the outer world.
It's about cultivating inner stability and clarity
Mm-hmm.
so we can respond to life's challenges with wisdom and compassion
Yes,
rather than reacting from a place of fear or frustration.
exactly.
He also emphasizes the importance of understanding and appreciating.
Your own unique role in the world.
Mm.
It's not about comparing ourselves to others or trying to fit into some mold.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing our strengths and using them to make a positive impact.
Beautiful.
You don't have to be a monk to make a difference,
You don't.
right? And he talks about how even when faced with, difficult situations, we can choose hope.
Absolutely.
It's not about ignoring the challenges,
Right.
but it's about believing in our own resilience and the possibility of positive change, even in the midst of those difficult circumstances.
And he reminds us that hope is contagious.
Oh, I love that.
When we choose hope for ourselves, we inspire hope in others.
Yeah.
It's a ripple effect. Our actions, our attitudes, they all have an impact.
So as we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
I want to leave you with a question to ponder.
Okay.
What's one small step you can take today to bring a little bit of that monk mindset into your own life?
Maybe it's taking a few minutes for mindful breathing.
Maybe it's offering help to someone who needs it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's just choosing to approach a difficult situation with a bit more patience and understanding.
Whatever it is, remember that even small actions, when done with intention and consistency, can have a ripple effect. Keep diving deep, and until next time, keep cultivating that hope for yourself and for the world around you.